Hello my fellow Neonitians and welcome back to the channel. On today's video we're going to be talking about how to make a pause menu in Construct 3. So if that sounds good to you, then let's get started. Okay, so we have pretty much the same layout that we had in the video where I showed you guys how to do a 2D platformer, and we're going to use this as an example for what we're doing today. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to actually set up the UI for this. So I have already created a layer called pause, and all we're going to do with this layer is we're going to make sure that the parallax is set to 0 by 0. And what that's going to do is it's going to basically make sure that the UI is always aligned to the center of the screen and that it's basically like stuck to the camera. That's exactly what you want for any sort of UI, including a pause menu like this. So now that we have that set up, what we're going to do is we're just going to make a very basic, shape that's going to sort of be our pause menu for this example. It's not going to be something fancy, but we're just going to do something pretty simple. So we'll create a sprite, we'll bring it into here, and make sure that you're adding the sprite to the pause layer, not any of the other layers. And I think I'm just going to do a white rectangle, basically. So we'll just do that, and something like this should be fine. So we'll go like that, and we will make it a little bit smaller. Actually, I'm going to turn off the snapping just so I can be a little bit more precise with this. So we will turn off snap to grid, and as you can see, it's on the pause layer, so that's super important. So now we can resize it a little bit more accurately, and we'll just align it like this, and we'll preview just to see if it's kind of what we want. That looks pretty much like what we want. I'm not going to do any text or anything like that because you kind of get the idea. You know how you would do it if you wanted to do your own UI. And then what we're going to do is, just to make it clear that you're in a pause menu, what we're also going to do is we're kind of going to make the background of the game go darker so that the pause menu actually stands out. And the easiest way to do that is we're going to add the sprite. We're going to make it actually, you know what we can do is we're going to use the transparency slider and bring that down, and we're going to go like this, and that should be good. And we're going to select this color, and this will basically give us a transparent fill. We can now erase that line and then fill with that. So now we have this basically semi-transparent black background basically. And this will act as our way to essentially make the background not stand out so much. And then we're going to send this behind by clicking on Z order, sending it to the bottom of the layer. So now you can see the effect that it causes, where now the pause menu really stands out from before. And you can tweak this to what you want it to be. And again, remember, make sure that you're on the pause layer and that it's actually filling in the entire viewport. So that's important as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start programming this. So let's go into the event sheet. And the first thing I want to do is I want to group anything that the player can affect with the controls. We want to put that in a group so that basically we can make it inactive when the player presses the pause menu. And the reason why you want to do this is if you don't do that, while the game might be paused, any of the inputs that the player does will still register in the game. And once the player unpauses, all of the things that the player did, for example, if he pressed the shoot button, they will all trigger, which is kind of buggy and looks really weird. So we want to prevent that from happening. So we will go and create a group. We will just call this player controls. And we will add that in, and we will basically control and then click on all of these. Oh, try to be more accurate than I am. And we will go and add this one, and that one. And we will bring that in to here. So now it's in the player control section, as you can see here. So that's good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a global variable. This is basically what we're going to use to toggle the menu on and off. Now, you don't have to do it this way, but this basically allows it so that if you press the menu button, it will pause the game. And if you press it again, it will unpause it. So you don't actually have to select resume in the menu. You can just use the button, which is kind of nice. So it depends on what you're trying to do, but this is one way to do it. And we'll just call this pause. And we want to make sure that we select this type. This is a yes or no question variable. And we're going to set the initial value to off, which basically is saying that the game is not paused yet when you start the layout, which is what we want. So we'll press OK. And so now we have our global variable. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually add the controls for this. So let's go into game engine objects, keyboard, and then we're going to do on key pressed. This works for controllers as well. You would just go into the controller options and then do the same thing as this. And we'll just use the key M for this. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to click on action and we're going to click on system. We're going to scroll down to toggle and we're going to toggle the pause option that we have here, the pause variable. And so this is going to make sure that if we press M, it's going to toggle to pause, and if we press M again, it's going to toggle it to unpause the game. So now that we have that, we have to tell the engine what this global variable is actually going to do. So we'll do that next. So we will add an event. We'll go to system, and then we'll go is variable set, and we're going to make sure we select the pause variable. And then we're going to basically just tell it what to do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to system, and then we're going to go to set timescale. Make sure you're clicking on set timescale, not set object timescale, because those are two different things. So we'll go to set timescale, and this basically explains what you have to do depending on what you're trying to go for. If you want to put the game in slow motion, for example, you would put it at 0.5 seconds. For this, we wanted to completely stop the game, which means we have to set the timescale to 0. So we've done that now. And then another thing you might want to do is if your game has music, which it probably does, you're going to want to pause that if your pause menu has its own music that is different from the levels music. Or if you just want to make sure that when the game pauses, there's no music playing at all. So you're going to want to add, basically go to actions, and you're going to want to go into your audio object and then basically just stop the audio object that plays your background music essentially. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to system, and we're going to go to set group active, and we're going to type in the name of it. So it's called player controls. Make sure you type it completely correctly, including any sort of case sensitivity, because that will matter in this case. And so now that we got the group name in there, we're going to set the state to deactivated. And then what we're going to also do is we're going to basically set the layer, the pause layer, to be visible. And we want it actually to be invisible by default. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the pause layer, and we're going to turn off the initially visible option. And we also want to, if we're actually doing a real pause menu, this is sort of like a demo, but if we're doing a real pause menu and there's actually interactability with the pause menu, you want the initial interactivity to be off, so we would turn that off as well. But this is just a demo, so we don't really have to worry about that. So now that we got that done, we're going to go back into the event sheet, and we're going to go add an action, and we'll click on system, and we'll scroll down to the layer section, and we'll go and click on set layer visible, and we will choose layer 3 because that's our pause menu, and we will set it visible. And now that we've done that, we're going to basically do the opposite. So we're going to copy and paste this, and we're going to right click on this condition, and we will invert that, and then we are going to basically invert all these options. So we'll go to the time scale, and we'll set that to 1, and then we'll go to player controls and then set that to activated, and then go to set layer 3 invisible. And now that we've done that, we can click preview and see how it looks. And there you go, fully functioning pause menu in Construct 3. But with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, follow the light.